Hey everybody, so this is Nasser Carrillo's County. I'm one of the instructors for the Newark Kids Code program, and today we're going to be going over how to make your own block. So throughout the course and throughout the sessions and videos, we've been showing you how to write programs using the blocks that are available to you. But today we're going to teach you something awesome. We're going to teach you how to make your very own block. So we go over to the More Blocks section right over here. And we see there's make a block, and there's another one for add an extension. Now, add an extension is something we may go over in the future, but we don't have to deal with this today. So we're going to make our own blocks. So once you get that done, and you click on the button that says make a block, you'll automatically see this new window pop up. And you'll see that the block is purple, and you'll see that there's a label text inside. So you're going to name your own block. So let's call this block, or let's call it my own block. And you could name it whatever you want, my own block, or anything you want. It really is your own block. Literally, just put your name to it. Call it yourself, or call it Block Awesome, or Awesome Block, or Block Party, whatever you want. It's pretty cool. So we have other options to it too. So for example, I could put in a number input. And a number input is basically just a way for you to put in a number or any of the operator blocks. A string input allows you to put in an argument that is a text. So like you were doing with the look when you were saying something, or when you went to sensing and you were asking the user a question, you could put in your own text here. Now the Boolean block, we may have covered Boolean in the past. Just to give you like a brief review, a Boolean is something that checks whether a statement is true or false, whether it is happening or not. So a Boolean block allows you to do that with, like I said, if you go to sensing, for example. And the big key thing or rule of thumb you should take with you is that looking at the shape of the input, you should automatically know which blocks you could put in based on the shape of the blocks. So you can automatically know, like, okay, so this is a Boolean input, I could put touching in there, so you could check whether the sprite is touching something, whether it is true, whether your statement is true or not. Is the sprite touching something, yes or no? So we could delete those for now. We're going to focus on just making our own blocks. And as you can see, we have another button here that says add label text, and this is basically just adding more text to your block. So just in case you want to be like, my own block is awesome, right? It's just, you know, any other text you want to add to it. So let's click OK. Now automatically you see a block that says define and then your block. So when you see this block, you automatically know that you have to tell the program what you want your block to do. Now, rule of thumb, your own block is sort of going to be like your shortcut block. So let's say, for example, if you're writing a fun game program and you're writing one script that has to be used multiple times, right? So instead of writing the script over and over again on the same sprite or object that you have selected, you could just put in your own block in that area, that script area right here, and it'll run your script, it'll run your program. It's very simple, it's very awesome, and it could also save you a lot of time, especially if you're writing something really, big, and you're writing something really fun that you want people to enjoy without having to take too much time to work on it or too much time to debug it. Now, let's do another review. So, debugging a program is basically checking the program if it's not working to see why it's not working. It's basically giving you the opportunity to look back at your program and say, hey, okay, maybe this is why it's not working. This block isn't supposed to be there, or this script isn't written properly. So let me rewrite it, or let me put another block in there, or let me delete what I have there now and just rewrite the script in a different format. So that's another little quick review for you guys to take home with you. So now I've made my block, now I have to define it. So what do I want my block to do? So let's say, for the sake of this video, let's try to do something simple, right? just to show you how you would define a block and what it means to define your block. So let's say if I said move 10 steps. Something very simple. We're not going to add anything else to it now, right? And let's start a program when clicked, right? And let's add our block. Now remember, defining a block doesn't start your program. It tells the program what you want your new block to do. This is what starts your program, the events block. This is what tells the program, hey, I want you to start when the play button is clicked or the little green flag on the top right here. So we have our program. Let's see what happens if I press it. And as you can see, it did exactly what this block was defined to do, what its function to do. It moved 10 steps. So that seems simple enough. So let's drag our cat back to the center. Okay. So let's say we want to make something more complex. Not anything crazy now. We don't want to get into anything too crazy now, but let's say we want to add more to our block. Let's say we want our block to do something more than just moving a cat 10 paces to the right. So let's say I wanted to wait for 2 seconds, move 10 steps, say hello for another 2 seconds, ask what my name is, or let's do something even more awesome. So there. Now we've added a lot more to our block. Now we've defined our block to do a lot more. We've told it to wait 2 seconds after the program starts, move 10 steps, say hello for 2 seconds, ask what my name is, and if the answer equals Nasser, which is my name, then say hello, my name. So let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, so that didn't quite work out. So let's just say hello. Okay, so that didn't work out either. So this is a very important lesson. So we see that the program is not running properly. So let's go ahead and debug it. Now, as you can see, something this simple for our own block should be working. We have all the little blocks here that's put in very simply: wait, move, say, ask, if, then, say, right? So let's see what we could do. See? So instead of putting the if block, if then block, we just kept it simple. So you just learned something very important when you debug. If something is a little bit too complex or is unnecessarily too complex, just make it very simple. We just want to say the answer. And now let's see. So now you see that it actually works. So we just debugged our program. So sometimes when you run through your program, you're going to get glitches. Now glitches are essentially a way for the computer to say, hey, this is not working. So when a glitch happens or something's not working, we just go back and we rewrite the portion of the program that doesn't work and see how that goes. So that's an important thing to remember when you're debugging. Before we wrote a program that would check the answer and then say a response when the answer was met or when the condition was met. That's what we refer to as a Boolean, whether it was true or false, right? So that didn't work out. The program glitched on us. So we decided to go a simple route and just say hello answer, which is my name. Okay. So that's making our own block. And of course, when you define your block, no matter how many times you change it, it'll automatically change the definition or the function of the block based on what you have here. So like we said, rule of thumb, when you make your own block, it's sort of like a shortcut block. It allows you to write a long script under the define block area and then use the same block over and over again when you want to use the same script over and over again on the same object that you've selected, which in this case is our cat. So, and we can make it do other things, like we can make it rotate, point in a certain direction, or we can make it say something, show something, switch costumes. You know, we could change the sound, make a pen out of it, we could use the pen blocks. You could use any blocks that are available to you on the object that you've selected, which is the sprite here, in this case, the cat. Define it, put your own block under the event block, which starts the program, and then run it as if you were putting the whole script under the event block. And we could do some pretty awesome things with this too. It's very simple, if on edge bounce. So instead of saying if on edge bounce, we're going to put that to define our own block. So the my own block is awesome block right here is going to see if on edge, then bounce. So you see it bounced. And remember, when you delete a sprite, you have to remember that the script that is associated with that sprite also gets deleted. So let's choose another sprite. Let's say I want a polar bear. So now I got a polar bear, my bad, and I have to make a new block. So let's say, what's up, Scratch? So now we have a new block, what's up, Scratch? And we want to define it as turn 50 degrees. Now I'm going to go over something very simple with you, which is the case when you don't see your own block, but you still have the object in the sprite area, or in the stage area, or any area right here in Scratch. So let's get another sprite. Let's get another bear on there. So you see this bear had its own block, what's up, Scratch? This bear doesn't. So you have to remember that when you make your own block, it only applies to the object that you've selected. So in this case, my polar bear, or bear 2 as it's called, has the what's up, Scratch block, whereas bear 1 doesn't, because I made the block with bear 2. So if I press this, then drag my block here. Of course, this is not going to do anything. We didn't program it. But also you see that when you make a block, it only applies to the sprite or object that you've selected when you created the block. So just keep that in mind whenever you're programming something in Scratch and you want to program a very awesome game, or you want to program something a little bit more complex, and you just don't know how to do that without writing all the script several times. You could just make your own block, but remember that it only applies to the object that you've selected. Okay, so that pretty much runs us through how to make our own blocks in Scratch. I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. And, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Newark Kids Code on YouTube and Google+. And don't forget to show your friends, let them know about Scratch, and let them know about the awesome program that we're coming up with. Because you can build your own if you could build your own programs from scratch, you could pretty much do anything you want. Okay, so that's it, you guys. Have a good day.